Welcome to this session on Urban Footprint. I'm Andrew Federer, Vice President of Product Management at Calthorpe Analytics, and today we will be covering how to paint in a scenario in Urban Footprint. Painting is really the heart of Urban Footprint as you get to transform the built environment from its current form to another as you explore growth options in your scenario. Let's get started. To begin, let's get set up, turn on our painted canvas in our scenario, and enter build mode. When you turn on build mode, you'll see a few changes to your screen. First, notice the build bar appears above your map. The build bar contains tools you'll use to do your painting. We'll cover all the details in the build bar shortly. Second, you'll see that paint tracking charts are available. The paint tracking charts track how changes you make to the build form impact the scenario. After we start painting, we'll discuss the paint tracking charts in more detail. Let's get started by selecting an area to paint. For this example, let's not worry about what blocks we select. There are other tutorials and knowledge base articles that go into the different ways that you can select geometries, such as using the map tools and using filtering. Now that we've selected the areas that we want to paint, let's select the place or building type that we want to apply to those areas. In the build bar, you'll see that there are two buttons that show the set of place types and building types available in Urban Footprint. The place and building types represent different places and buildings that can be painted onto the canvas. What really defines the place and building type are their underlying statistics describing how land is allocated in terms of residential and employment densities, site and building characteristics, and dozens of other details. For this example, we will choose to paint the blocks we have selected to city mixed use. It's not realistic to paint an area as large as the one we're using to this type, but it will make the changes more obvious on the map and in the paint tracking charts. Now that I've chosen to paint my blocks as city mixed use, I can begin to see what the impact of that will be by reviewing the paint preview. Here we can see that the area I chose for development has 0 constrained acres and a little over 12,000 developable acres. Next to it is the program table. The program table estimates the change to dwelling units, population, and employment within the area I've selected to paint. The program table previews are on a per paint basis. It will not show the aggregate impact of all the painting done within a scenario. Once you are comfortable with your proposed changes, go ahead and press the Paint button. Urban Footprint will apply the painting changes to your scenario. After this completes, your canvas will update to show the new place type now applies to your block selection, and the paint tracking updates to show the cumulative changes within your scenario. Let's say that after you press the Paint button that you decide that maybe you didn't want to make the change that you did. You can use the Undo button to roll back any paint that you've completed. When you press the Undo button, the most recent painting action performed by any user within the scenario is reverted, updating the paint tracking chart as well as the map. You can also redo any undone painting by pressing the Redo button. The paint tracking charts show the aggregate impact of all of the painting actions within your scenario. There are 4 paint tracking charts. The summary chart shows the change in population, dwelling units, and employment. The dwelling units by type shows the change in single-family homes, townhomes, and multifamily homes. The employment by sector chart shows the change in retail employment, office employment, public sector employment, industrial employment, agricultural employment, and military employment. And finally, the building square feet by type chart shows the change in building square footage for residential buildings, retail buildings, office buildings, public buildings, and industrial buildings. This concludes the review of painting an urban footprint. If you have further questions, you can browse the rest of our knowledge base and reach out to us at any time via the chat dialog. Thank you.